the drainage systems, the bridges, but the digital highways, the digital robbery, the digital attacks is something quite new to many, Lord. So as we thank you for the men and women who are here today to help us find solutions, we ask you, Lord God, that you will make the Philippines, Lord, a powerhouse when it comes to security and giving our people a safe and comfortable life. We lift up to you all the leaders of our country, from the president to the barangay officials, which we'll be selecting in the next few days. Bless this hearing, bless this discussion. We lift this up to you in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. We'll defer muna yung ating okay, the other matters that are not that essential right now, so that we can go to the meat of the issue. I'll ask the ComSec to acknowledge all of our guests. Maybe it'll be more productive if everyone thinks of this as more of a round table than anything else. So, siguro facts, issue, and then how do we solve the problem? I know you're on top of it, but I think as we were talking today, kaya nga ako medyo na-divert, ina-attempt daw i-hack yung Senate website. May firewall lang daw. No? So, I think in the end, di ba, two things, di ba? Factually lang, no? Dun sa mga na-hack recently, are there any sensitive information? What can people do to protect themselves? And then, siguro, I don't know if anyone is here or in the second hearing. I was telling the media lang, and correct me, Asek Paraiso, kung mali ako, di ba? But like, our banks have one of the finest cyber security systems in the world, di ba? And very secure mga bangko natin. Tama ba yan?
We can confirm that, Mr. Senator, sir. Mr. Chairman, sir.
Because what we don't want to do is also create panic that people will think just because yung House of Representatives of PhilHealth na hack, that means that yung ating military, ating mga bangko and everything can be hacked. And even if PhilHealth was hacked, that doesn't mean that they got everything. No? But I'll go that later. But maybe the ComSec can introduce lang everyone, and then from then, please just tell us a little bit about what happened and what you're doing about it, and ano yung long-term solution natin with all of this. No? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For the PhilHealth, we have President and CEO, Honorable Emmanuel Ledesma Jr., together with Attorney Eli Dino Santos, Ms. Nerissa Santiago, Mr. Nelson De Vera, Ms. Annie Cafuda, Mr. Dennis Formadero. For the Department of Information and Technology, Communications Technology, we have USEC for Connectivity, Cybersecurity, and Upskilling, USEC Jeffrey Ian D. Assistant Secretary for Legal Affairs, ASEC Renato Aboy Paraiso, as well as Mr. Alwell Mulcid, Ms. Justine Orduña, Ms. Jolina Cinco. For the National Privacy Commission, we have Attorney Michael Santos, Attorney Reginald Francisco, Attorney Omar Deloso, Engineer Walden Frederick Canlas, and Mr. Ronald Sanchez. For the Cybercrime Investigation and Coordination Center, we have ASEC Mary Rose Magsaysay and Director Alvin Navarro. For the National Cybersecurity Interagency Committee, we have Attorney Erich Joseph Ting. For the Office of Cybercrime, Department of Justice, we have Attorney Angela Marie Gracia Cruz. For the Philippine Statistics Authority, we have Ms. Minerva Eloisa Esquivias, together with Mr. Rene Mendoza and Attorney Elizer Ambatali. For the Secure Connections, we have Ms. Mary Grace Mirandilla Santos, together with Dr. William Emmanuel Yu. That's all for now.
Thank you. Maybe it's logical if we can, sir, start with PhilHealth. By the way, yung box hindi anti-cyber kit yan, hindi man always on time yung committee ko. We pride ourselves na pinakamasarap yung pamirianda namin. So, feel free to have a bite pag hindi nyo pa hindi nyo pa time na magsalita. Sir PhilHealth, kung sino man ang gusto pang mag-brief.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. Senator Alan Cayetano. Thank you for inviting us here to this forum, to this committee hearing. And I just want to mention, I'll mention briefly on what happened, and then if you may allow me, sir, I'll pass it on to our Chief Operating Officer to elaborate more. No, so the incident happened last September 22nd, Mr. Chair. And it's been roughly 3 weeks up to today, and I'm happy to report to you, Chairman Cayetano, that for our external services, we are back at 100% since over the weekend. No, and for our internal services, Mr. Chair, we are at maybe 80 to 85%, and we are expecting any day now, very likely sometime this week, we should also be back to 100%. No, so everything is okay. We are very grateful to all the agencies, most especially DICT. No, from the first minute, no, they were very cooperative, very helpful, and they've been guiding us through ever since. No. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank DICT again, no, from Sec Ivan all the way down, no. Been very, very helpful.
Sir, pwedeng konting step by step dun sa hindi nakasunod. So when did you discover there's something wrong? Then what happened?
Okay.
Just a short para lang
Yes.
people will understand what happened.
Yes, sir. So it started on September 22nd. Maybe, Mr. Chair, I'll allow CEO to give the details. Starting September 22nd when we discovered the... Yeah, CEO, go ahead.
If I may, Mr. Chairperson. So the incident happened last September 22, 2023. We immediately implemented the containment procedure, Mr. Chairperson. We turned off all our systems.
Sorry, sir. Para lang layman, pati sa mga nanonood. So what do you mean something happened? So something informed you. So what was a day in the life of PhilHealth that day in 2010? What did you notice and what happened?
So, Mr. Chairperson, I was informed that when one of the employees in the central office turned on the system, there was already flashed on the screen a notice that the system had been hacked by Medusa, and there was already a demand for ransom. So this was immediately reported to the senior manager, the supervisor, and the instruction was to immediately turn off all systems, and that is our containment response, Mr. Chairperson. And after that, the Info Security Office as well as the IT Office immediately conducted assessment, and it was reported the same day, Mr. Chairperson, to the Executive Committee that there is an emergency. So reports were immediately submitted to the Office of our President and Chief Executive Officer, Sir Mandy. So we were able to contain the spread of the virus, Mr. Chairperson, and then the next step was to eradicate it, Mr. Chairperson. And we were able to somehow, through the help of the incident response team, we requested help from the a third-party incident response team, and we were able to somehow eradicate the spread of the virus, Mr. Chairperson. And after that, the next step was recovery of the system, Mr. Chairperson.
So, sir, immediately you knew what the virus was doing. So the virus was getting data ba? Ano ba?
Mr. Chairperson, as to the yes, my answer to that, Mr. Chairperson, is the data somehow was retrieved by the virus. But as to the details, Mr. Chairperson, later on, if you direct Mr. Chairperson, may we request our senior manager from the IT department to answer in detail, Mr. Chairperson, please.
Go ahead. The only reason I want you to tell it this way is for if people are watching, lalo mga local governments, barangay, pag nangyari sa kanila, maging example ko ano tama yung ginawa. at anong mali. And maybe I can ask the ICT mamaya yun nga yung sinabi nilang containment, patayin. Diba? Kasi this is new to a lot of people eh. So unless nandun yung mismong IT person mo na alam niya, the other people might not know what to do. That's one reason I'm asking you to tell it like storytelling. But thank you for that, sir. So go ahead lang po.
So, as to the details, Mr. Chairperson, maybe later on we can ask Mr. Nelson de Vera. So when we implemented a containment, eradication, Mr. Chairperson, we were able to stop the spread of the virus. And then our goal was to recover the system because we turned off all systems of PhilHealth from processing of claims to payment of premiums. So our next goal was to recover and then turn on our system. So as reported by our President and CEO, at present, all systems serving our stakeholders are already up. And we also have internal systems, Mr. Chairperson. They are approximately 80% up. At present, we are already receiving payment from our members, as well as processing and payment of our claims through the regional offices, Mr. Chairperson. That's all, Mr. Chairperson. Thank you very much.
More or less, sir. So how long from September 22 until fully operational ka? Just to serve as an example sa iba na if it happens, it's a big hassle to everyone. No?
So we became fully operational, Mr. Chair, 100% over the weekend. So from September 22 to last Saturday, estimate is around a little less than 3 weeks, Mr. Chair. To be exact, just a minute, Mr. Chair. So September 22, around 3 weeks, Mr. Chair, to be exact. So
And for an agency that is 24/7 processing, that's a lot of downtime for you, no?
exactly, Mr. Chair, exactly. But at least, like I said, we're happy to now to say that we're at 100%. Mr. Chair, with your permission, maybe very briefly on the technical side, our senior manager can discuss. Go ahead, sir.
And please feel free na i-annotate mo kasi yung mga nanonood para alam nila rin yung gagawin nila at ano yung tama at mali kapag ka nga nangyaring ganito.
Yes, sir. No. Nung na-learn namin nga nung attack, immediately containment talaga yung number one na action. So, hindi namin kasi alam, sir, kung gaano ka-extent no, yung mga na-apektuhan. And to be safe, turn off namin connection namin from the internet so wala makakapasok, wala makakalabas. Inform also the region since nakaka-connect sila sa amin. Off kayo, all your machines, yung mga desktop workstation, i-off nyo rin sa network and then wait for further instructions, sabi namin sa kanila. So, after namin magawa yun, so disconnected lahat, off. We reported doon sa management and siyempre kailangan mag-report tayo kung since merong emergency nga, sir. And we were directed nga, sige, analyze and then as soon as po pwede, we need to put up the service. Kasi if you would know, Mr. Chair, kasi maraming services provided si PhilHealth, especially dito sa mga online. That would need to be up kasi may mga dependencies like operations, may mga gano'n. So we really prioritize na may up. As a matter of fact, ang number one priority namin was to put up yung aming mga web-based applications kasi kumokonik yung hospital sa amin, nag-check kung eligible, nagsasabit ng claim. So yun yung number one priority namin, sir. And happy to see, in spite of all the challenges, sir, that even before the deadline ni Medusa sa amin na 10 days, nai-up na namin yung mga primary services namin like portal, yung member for the hospital namin, yung claim submission, as well as yung website, Mr. Chair. So that's bali, kasama na dun sir yung recovery kasi during that week, kailangan namin may up yung ngayon. Pero dun
Sorry, para doon lang sa hindi nakakaintindi. So when you say recovery, you're recovering from your own files, no? Hindi from yung nakakuha.
Yes, sir. Basically, we want to recover. Ibig sabihin, yung aming mga services should be up and running and available na dun sa mga users ko. So yun yung...
Kasi sa physical crime, di ba, pag recovery, nakuha niya kotse ko, i-recover ko. But sa digital, tinitingnan mo nga yung nakuha niya, nabura ba, or makukuha mo pa, or na-corrupt na ba?
Yes,
diba?
yes, sir.
Pero at what point in time do you involve law enforcement?
Actually, doon sa first day pa lang, meron kaming Information Security Department, sir. So they're the ones who will be doing the coordination kasi yung task nila for the outside. Kami doon sa IT operations, we have to make sure na itong infrastructure and nakasecure dahil alam namin may mga infected dyan, so dapat hindi na kumalat yan, na-contain natin yan. And then, yung mga services na okay, na-i-up na. And
Sir,
protection na,
is
sir.
that the ICT or that's PNP or both? Pagka ganyan.
Mr. Chairperson, if I may, immediately after the incident, we informed NPC, then we coordinated with
Sorry,
PNP,
NPC?
National
Privacy
Privacy Commission. We immediately coordinated with Philippine National Police and NBI. In fact, we had a meeting immediately after the incident,
Sige.
and we requested the creation, Mr. Chairperson, of a national task force because we understand this is not only a problem of PhilHealth but a national concern. Mr. Chair.
Siguro later on I'll ask sa DICT, di ba na? Kasi di ba like sa US, everything is 911. Sila nang magsasabi whether para medics yan, whether bumbero, ganyan. So I was wondering nga, kung nanonood yung iba dito, if it happened to an LGU, it happened to military unit, who do they call, and what's the, kumbaga sa domino, what's the first domino that will trigger all the other sa kanila, no? Maybe I'll ask that later. Sorry to interrupt. Yeah, go ahead. So, okay.
So yun, sir, no? So naka-focus ngayon yung team. Number one, naka-isolate na. Next phase is eradication, sir. So this is the period wherein kailangan namin ng tool para matanggal yung mga infection. Lalo na dun sa mga i-up namin. Kasi we feel na even if bagong app ito, baka merong remnant sa loob, may infecto. So we have to make sure na kung mag-up na kami ng mga servers, may updated siya, nakapatch, may antivirus na nag-run, and protected siya, sir, before natin i-on. So yun yung nag-trigger sa amin. That's why we put up yung mga front-facing application namin, mga web-based applications, sir, even before dumating yung deadline ni Medusa. And then, ginawa rin namin strategy, sir, since kulang kami sa tao. So meron kami mga regional offices. During the first week ng crisis, we immediately asked for assistance. Pinapunta po namin yung mga regional IT officers namin, and we're thankful to them, no? Na during that 1 week period na critical, na kailangan namin malinis, malinis yung mga infected, and makapag-up kami ng server, nandun sila, sir. So I think one of the, namin yun, sir.
Have you found out that this particular ransomware or virus or whatever you call it, kailangan na physically to get into the computer or na they went through lang your firewall?
No, sir.
May
meron na,
findings na kayo, wala pa dyan.
Meron na, sir. May report na from the incident.
So which one is it? Kailangan sa loob or pwede na ano yung firewall?
Sa labas siya, sir.
Sa labas. Oh. Kasi pag sa loob, then you'll have to have a second investigation.
Yes, sir.
Paano na ipasok, no?
So, yung, after that, sir, tuloy-tuloy na ngayon yung recovery phase namin.
Yeah.
Ibig sabihin, nakapag-put up na kami ng web. Yung mga internal systems naman namin, prioritize namin, sir. Number one, yung claims processing. And then yung sa membership systems namin, yun yung mga made available dun sa region.
So have you appraised already or assessed anong nakuhang data?
Meron, sir. Meron tayong, even DICT provided us, sir, yung they downloaded kung ano yung data na nandun sa Medusa blog site. And we were provided with that copy. And yung po yung pinaprocess namin ngayon.
But yung sa Medusa, yun lang yung nirelease nila. They could have gotten more, tama ba, Yusek? Or...
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
Senator Cayetano. Yes, sir, they released 746 gigabytes of data po.
may measure ba kung ilan yung lumabas?
Sir, ang modus operandi kasi ni Medusa, ano siya, international, existing since 2020. Pag natapos na yung incident, they really release everything, then they move on to the next target. So we believe na, and from the beginning, this has been, we note that the threat actor has been consistent with the modus operandi of who they claim to be, which is Medusa. So we believe na ito na po yun. This is the last...
Yeah. But is there a way of, di ba, kumbaga sa gasolina, kung inihirip mo, you know kung gaano kalaking gasolina na.
Ang nakuha sa kanila.
Yeah, so is there assuming it wasn't Medusa, it was a new actor, then they released 700 gigabyte. Would you know if it was 1 terabyte, 10
Yeah.
terabytes? You would know.
Yes, sir. That should be consistent with the encrypted files also.
So dito consistent.
Yes, it is.
So did they get sensitive files? I mean, for example, yung kung ano sakit ng mga tao and everything.
Based on our analysis, Mr. Senator, Mr. Chair, ang nakuha po nila is personally identifiable information, which includes membership ID, full names of some of the members, their birthday, etc.
Mga claims nila. Let's say kung
There are some information about the kind of claim they are trying to get at that particular transaction kasi nakuha po nila is transaction.
Sige. I won't go further than that para we don't cross alarm and everything. But, sir, baka lesson din lang na parang as a double redundancy, di ba, na hindi rin identifiable yung name doon sa, may I recognize Senator Hercito? Isa sa pinakamasipag nating senador. Sa gitna tayo nung PhilHealth. So what I meant, sir, is that, diba, so for example, yung isang patient may cancer, third chemo treatment niya. There is a way naman, diba, na yung files mo nakaayos in a way na kahit makuha ko, hindi ko mailalagay na C1 at saka etong tatlong mapagsama. 'Di ba? Para may may confidence din yung may hawak. Kasi I'll give you an example, no. You know, when we were young, kami ni JB, ewan ko kung sino mga kaedad namin dito, 'di ba? Nahiya talagang pumunta ng health center yung mga tao. Kaya mayaman mahirap ka sa doktor kung may STD. Pero wala ka naman choice. Wala pang AIDS nun. So, nung pagdating ng 80s at may AIDS na, lalo na. Kasi kapag ka pumila ka doon, nandun yung mga kapitbahay mo eh. So, many LGUs and the DOH have found many creative ways of screening na hindi alam ng mga tao na yun ang screen mo. And it will be a pity talaga if yung iba ayaw magpa-screen because they think makukuha yung kanilang data. That's just one example, di ba? But, di ba, another example yung sinabi ko nga, like, hanggang ngayon sa Hong Kong, sobrang galing ng medical system nila, ng health system nila. Pero pag nalaman ng amo na may cancer, minsan hindi nire-renew. So, minsan yung ibang employees doon tinatago, tapos nagpapagamot ng sa kanilang, what they call this, off days. So, nakakalungkot naman kung malalaman ng amo nila, dito pa, dahil na-hack tayo. Tapos matatanggal sila doon. Doble na problema nila. Wala na silang trabaho, walang treatment, di ba? So, that's what I meant lang. Baka DICT can advise the different agencies, no? How to do that, no? I know you still use codes and everything, but there should be a way siguro pa rin, di ba? Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, we just mentioned that your observation is spot on, Mr. Chair. That is exactly what we should do. Number one is database segregation. Pangalawa is by making sure that the data is not in clear text. There is a way of parang matching, even though instead of Jeffrey D, it's a bunch of letters and numbers. But there could be a reference table where you can match it. Without going through the details, that's what modern databases are doing. It's called tokenization. So you're right, Mr. Chair. That's what we're talking about.
I might forget, sorry, Mr. De Vera, yung said, baka din, I don't know kung may protocols na, di ba? Kasi like yung Bureau of Fire, meron silang fire week, meron silang fire drills, di ba? So I do wonder kung meron ganyan sa cybersecurity, and kung meron, so for example, does Mr. De Vera have to call them all physically, patayin nyo, or if yun talaga yung SOP, could we have a code A or a code red, na when you text all of your branches, that simply means tayin nyo lahat and wait for further instruction. Kasi mas mabilis yun. Di ba? Kasi I can imagine, again, parang domino, di ba, na pag tinamaan mo yung isa, ulog lahat, medyo mas safe ka na. But if you have to call 7,100 islands, if you have to call 80 or 81 regional offices, kahit na sabay-sabay kayong tumatawag, na every minute na naka-on yung isa, baka nagkakaproblema yun. So I know this is a number of tasks and you're already doing a lot of things, but I think this is one of the tasks na if we do and masanay lahat, we can really... correct me if I'm wrong, ha? Sabi ko nga, di ba kung magnanakaw ka ng bangko, hindi ka pupunta sa pinaka-secure na bangko. Hindi ka pupunta sa pinakamaraming CCTV, pinakamaraming gwardiya, di ba? Kung magka-carnap ka, hindi ka mamimili ng kalye na mailaw, maraming pulis, maraming CCTV. Ang pupuntahan mo, yung madaling nakawin. So meaning, if we can upgrade the country in the sense na talagang hackers, hindi kayo ubra dito, they'll pick somewhere else. Di ba? Kasi nga, you won't basically stop them unless mahuli lahat. But you can minimize it to the point na it's not worth their time. Kasi nga, very much ready ang Pilipinas to na-kontrahin. Tama ba yung ganung analysis?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, you're right. Actually, we have the National Cybersecurity Plan. We're implementing a protocol along with ang nasa top for critical infrastructures is the National Computer Emergency Response Team, but AAP is a different one, the Department of National Defense Computer Emergency Response Team. So in this model, Mr. Chair, that's what we're trying to do, to make sure that there is a single point of contact, and then from there we can coordinate with other organizations that also have the mandate, like CICC, the NBI, the PNP, and the NPC for this. Let me just add, Mr. Chair, that in this particular case, we actually also detected, because we also have, despite the limited resources that we have, we also have web intelligence systems that actually looks into the dark web. And so we did contact also PhilHealth when we monitored that somebody posted, well, hindi pala somebody, Medusa posted na meron na silang ransom demand. So you're right, Your Honor. Of course, we don't have yet, and I have to admit, we don't have yet the sophistication of having a singular, parang capital command or singular, kasi sa US may singular number, but we do have some systems that we use in order to facilitate faster communication.
Not to be controversial, kasi malaking issue ngayon yung confidential funds. Pero dun sa e-governance hearing ng natin with DICT, na-bring up nga kasi yung Chinese equipment sa telco. And I was telling our colleagues, Globe and Smart also has cell sites in camps, and they also use Huawei. And in fact, there was a UK study na yung American equipment, nahuli nila ilang beses, use it for spying. Yung Huawei, nakitaan nila ng 1 or 2 or 3 or X number of weaknesses, but never nilang nakitang using. So, nagkadebate ng konti sa hearing na yon, anong role ng military at anong role ng DICT. So, ang role ng military, sino ang ally at sino ang persons or countries of interest na kailangan bantayan. Ang role ng DICT is to be neutral technologically, di ba? Meaning you don't care what country manufactured that. What you will look at is whether that electronic device or that software can be used against us. Diba? And if it can, will we use it? Will we not use it? If it can, but you can put a counter gap, no? So sabi ko nga sana, so hindi porke made in US, made in UK, made in Australia, made in Israel, pwede na natin gamitin, then just because it's made in Russia and made in China, hindi natin pwedeng it's not that simple, di ba? That's why I say, that's the job of the military. Di ba? And even the DTI, na sino bang trading partner, sinong gusto natin. But the job of the DICT, so again, not to be controversial, but that's where confidential funds are actually useful because it can be used to buy information. So for example, you could actually have an ethical hacker. Ano bang counterpart ng ethical hacker? Hacker lang. Black hacker. You can actually have an asset who's a black hacker. Di ba? And you cannot make him or her an employee because makikita yung pangalan, and kung makita maliit yung sweldo, walang maniniwalang mga black hacker na siya, black hacker, unless double agent. And kung double agent, then they will have to get information from you to give them. Di ba? Pero kung black hacker siya na getting paid through intelligence or confidential funds. So I'm not lobbying for you. I'm just saying that there are certain agencies na klarong-klaro kung saan kailangan at meron hindi. And ang klarong-klarong kailangan when you have to do with security. And I just want to go back with what I told our mga kapatid natin sa media sa Senate. Madali kasi yung security pag physical mong nakikita. So kalye, nakikita mo yan. Bridge, nakikita mo. So nung maagang ginawa yung mga kalye nung araw, nung 1930s and 40s, kaya nga highway robbery. Haba ng highway, madilim, ninakawang ka doon, highway robbery. Ngayon kasi yung digital, hindi mo naman kita yung yung highway di ba, mga kable yan. Hindi mo naman kita yung airwaves doon. So yung attack, yung cyber, hindi mo rin kita, hindi mo kita kung sinong gumawa. Nakita mo lang yung mukhang nilagay niya doon. So that's where how do I put it, the real use of intelligence and confidential funds can come in. But of course, to gain people's confidence, ang nakikita kong suggestion ko dyan, may one-to-one correspondence sa value niya. Diba? So, ibig sabihin, pag sinabi mong, we have X amount, but what will we do with it? One, diba? To gather intelligence on the worldwide hacker. Two, to ganito. Three, ganito. To ganyan, diba? Something like that, diba? To use to teachers, to teach you kung ano yung tama and everything. Senator, may gusto lang. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just want to clarify, sir, sorry, came in late. Yung Medusa ransomware group, no, that's a group of mga hackers talaga to, no? New group of hackers and one of the most feared group right now. So ilan po yung based on your information, yung sa ibang government agencies, is this the same group that hacked the system or is a PhilHealth lang in particular?
Sir, for this year, no, it's not the same as the other reported in media as a... In fact, for the other media reported, yung recent, sir, Mr. Chair, we believe that those are local threat actors.
As the other agencies local. Pero hindi naman coincidence na nagkasabay-sabay ang hacking ng mga agencies natin.
Actually, sir, we are supposed to prepare the presentation for executive session, sir, because we're pursuing some leads. But siguro, sir, what I can say right now is that after the Medusa incident, there are other ransomwares. May mga lockbit na naging biktima rin yung ibang government agencies. And these are also professional groups like Medusa. But when we're talking about the recent spate of hackings after PhilHealth, we believe them to be local hackers and we believe them not to be a coincidence.
Siguro, going back lang sa concern ni Chairman Alan, kanina yung confidential funds that can be used. What are the steps or what are the steps that we are taking na hindi na maulit ito, no? I mean, PhilHealth, ang laking damage in the last 3 weeks, affected their operations, diba? And other, siyempre nag-worry kami because if some agencies also will be hacked this way, ano po ang siguro yung sa ating si ICC, Asik Mary Rose, dahil ikaw naman yung ethical hacker dito, Di ba? What are the steps that can be taken na para magkaroon tayo ng firewall ba or protection of our agency? Siyempre, nagkakaroon tayo ng nagkakaroon ng agam-agam din yung mga the people, everybody, no? Pag na-hack yung ating mga agencies.
Unang-una mo sa lahat, nais ko sanang ipaalam sa lahat para magkaintindihan lang na ang pagkakaiba lang po ng DICT po pagdating sa cyber at ang CICC ay sila po yung nakatalaga talaga sa kanila na alagaan lahat ng ahensya natin ng cybersecurity posturing, no? Sila sa kanila lahat yan. And then kung nagkaroon na po ng ganyan, may attack po, natural meron hong malicious intent at naging cybercrime at na-detect po nila yan, i-endorse po nila sa amin. So, pagdating sa pangangalaga po ng mga ahensya, kailangan po talaga ng masalimuot na pagsiyasat ng kanilang kalagayan ngayon kung ano ang kanilang engagement sa kanilang mga vendors na na-acquire through the years kasi wala pa namang ganitong kasamang attack sa atin noong panahon. So ang pagtingin po ng kanilang mga service level agreements between sa mga vendors nila at saka sa kanila ang magpapakita kung kung sino yung nangangalaga ng mga impormasyon, kung yung vendor ba o sila, pero at the end of the day sila talaga yan kasi sila nag-acquire ng services. So as far as that, and then magkaroon po ng data classification para alam nila yung pwede nilang i-share sa public, hindi i-share sa public o i-share sa vendor, hindi i-share sa vendor. So medyo ganun po yung kailangan po talaga ng pag-assess, risk assessment ngayon, no? Kung pwedeng mabigyan sila ng gabay ng ating Department of Information and Communications Technology on that level pa lang. Para at least meron ho kayong balita ng mga galing sa DICT kung anong status po natin sa lahat ng levels.
Likewise, Mr. Chair, sabi ko nga sa mga statements, no, that medyo controversial, nauuso yung Intel and Confidential Fund, other departments,
Opo.
even civilian in nature are already asking. But
Yes po.
when it comes, sabi namin, I think we're all in unison that, departments and agencies that have something to do with national security, fight against crime. And now, as I mentioned, Mr. Chair, itong cybersecurity, mga hackers at ito na yung modern day nating mga kalaban Everybody can be victims, no? Lalo yung mga vulnerable. And this time, our government agencies. Ang nakita ko rin sa budget ng cybersecurity, it was cut, no? From 600 million for 2023. Ngayon, 2024, ay 300 million na lang. Mr. Chair, half na lang yung ating budget for cybersecurity. So, how will that affect yung ating fight against cybercrime?
Ako malaking bagay po, no? Kung nais ko sanang ipaalam sa ating publiko, Mr. Chair, alam po natin ang ibig sabihin ng political commodity, ibig sabihin ng pagkain o bigas. Pag yan ang ginalaw, umiiyak ang buong Pilipinas. Kagaya ng pero forces o economic forces ang nagdadrive niyan kaya hindi natin masyadong maayos, di ba? Ang gasolina at saka ang kuryente, kapag gumalaw yan, sumasakit ang ulo ng buong Pilipinas, pati presidente po. Pero hindi naman natin masyado din magalaw pagkat hindi naman po tayo yung mga Arabo na nagbebenta, right? Itong connectivity ay isa pong confirmed political commodity lalo na po sa Pilipinas pagkat ang laki ng ating sa buhay natin, ang laki ng bahagi ng buhay natin ang natutulungan ng connectivity. Kaya lang ang hirap ng connectivity sa atin, mahal na mahal pagkat 7,100 islands. Ngayon pag kinat mo ang budget dyan, para nyo na rin pinatay. Sorry ha. Ang hopes ng tao na magkaroon ng equal standing sa lahat ng mga tao sa ibang bansa, na magkaroon ng trabaho, maski online na lang po, o ang pagkuha ng impormasyon para makapag-aral. So ang pag-set up po niyan, which is digitally secured, ay nakatalaga sa pangangalaga ng DICT. So pagka hindi ho natin sila binigyan ng confidential funds, ibig sabihin nun, pinipigilan natin ang pagkakaroon ng secure connectivity Kasi po ang proactive stance, ang pagbabantay ng security and cybersecurity ng buong Pilipinas ay nasa kanilang shoulders po. Ngayon yung sa amin po, ay pinagtatanggol ko sila kasi ang panag-inip po ng amin CICC, wag na ho sanang umabot sa amin. Kasi if they fail because they do not have the funds at naging cybercrime, masakit na ho yung ulo namin dahil we leave our resources, we safeguard it for emergency like trying to use technology or cybersecurity or cyber technology, panghabol ho ng mga krimen na huwag na sana tayo umabot doon. Kung maibigay ang pondong yan para sa kanila pangangalaga sa buong Pilipinas, makakatulong po. Last na po, sorry, Chairman, pero sabihin ko una sa inyo ito, ang pondo po ng mga cyber criminals, siguro ang pondo natin, budget ng buong Pilipinas, siguro budget yan ng cyber criminals na cross-border sa isang buwan nilang kita. Kaya kung sana, alam ko magaling tayo mga abilidad, pero sana mabigyan pa ng konting pondo. Yun po, para yung proactive stance po natin ay mabigyan po ng strength. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Interject lang one quick thing, no? Two quick things actually. So ma'am, sa sinabi nyo, and thank you for that, may one good thing pala that came out of all of this. Yung timing ng attack. Kasi kung natapos na yung budget, hindi na namin may tataas. So, may kumalabit ba sa inyo sa hackers na, wala, okay. Para malinaw lang. No, my question is, kasi sabay-sabay yung hearings, we can have a second hearing kasi nga, we do wanna help you and then I'll ask Sen JB and Sen Mark to champion din yung pag-increase ng budget nyo. But di ba sa budget hearing maikli na lang so here how important yung executive session, mas gusto nyo ngayon na sa next hearing kasi kung ngayon na pwede natin unahin yon.
Sir, the executive session actually contains more information about what happened.
Sige. So anyone who urgently wants to speak now or okay sa inyo mag-executive session muna tayo? Sige. Okay lang. Sige. Tapos guys, the rules of the executive session it's like a Chatham House rules na you cannot speak about it outside. So siguro kung sino man magrepresent, just let us know which ones is strictly and which ones you told the public naman para hindi naman kami parang zombie pag ini-interview or ganyan, no? Pasensya na sa mga kapatid ko sa media. Thank you sa kanta niyong happy birthday kanina, pero hindi talaga pwede sa executive session. Siguro maybe we can allow one or two to listen but not to report. Just so that you understand. Pwede ba? Or hindi rin?
No, I wasn't given
Sige.
clearance by the executive.
Sa amin muna, then kung magka-clearance sila to brief the media, then I'll leave it up to you later on. Kasi sa US, may ganun type sila that you cannot report, pero para at least alam nila. Para alam nila wala tayong secret. Sige. Anyone want to speak in open session before? Yes, ma'am. Please.
Bago natin talikuran ang ating mga mahal na publiko, Mr. Chair, I've mentioned this, I think Jeff has heard this. Ang sabi ko po, kagaya ng problema sa OSAIC, no? Hindi naman namunga na lang yan ng ganyan-ganyan na lang yan. Ang sabi ko sa isang press, that's why I can mention it now, right? Is that naniniwala ako na there are 9 meals away from anarchy. Ang sabi nila, hindi makakain ng 9 na beses ang isang tao na dapat niyang, meals niya, magkakaroon ng anarchy. Pero sa nangyari sa atin, anarchy came like a thief in the night. Na dahil ang Pilipino ay napaka-adaptive at ang feeling nila, kailangan nilang magkaroon ng pamamaraan para kumita, para kumain at mabigay tugon na makangailangan ng kanilang mga pamilya, ay nagkaroon sila ng chances to be able to earn money but not in the right way. So ayan po siya, nag-adapt lang. So ayan na po tayo ngayon.
I really thank you for that, Asek, kasi yun nga, yung invisible kasi kung tawagin yung internet, di ba? But actually, kung anong meron sa physical world, di ba? Kung kulang sa kalye, kulang sa connectivity, may nangloloko sa, may highway robbery, meron din dito. But as you said, it's an equalizer kasi, di ba? So kahit rural yung area mo, kung maganda connectivity mo, then pwede kang may i-consulta sa health, pwede kang sa education, di ba, and everything else, no? Just to put a period doon sa sinabi ko, and again, not to be controversial sa confidential fund or intelligence fund, one of the uses of intelligence fund or the confidential fund is reward. Reward, no? And yan, very transparent yan. So kung halimbawa, kung sasabihin nila, for any crime, na cyber crime, na ganito yung penalty, no? Ito yung reward sa makakahuli or magbibigay. Kitang-kita yon. So alam ng taong hindi binubulsa. At sinasabi ko nga, and I was, maybe in the next hearing or kung may time mamaya next hearing, yung mga penalties at paano mahuli. Kasi nga, kung walang penalty, nahuli mo lang, baka sabihin ng tao, baka kayo din lang yan. I-hack nyo. Di ba yun yung, remember nung bago yung computer, nung XT at 80 pa, yan yung kwentuhan natin ng mga bata tayo, di ba, na yung kayang gumagawa ng antivirus, siya din kaya gumagawa ng virus para kumita siya. Di ba? Yun din yung ano eh. So, yun din ang problema mo sa reward money. Kung walang penalty, kung kulong yun, alam nga naman magpakulong yun para sa 100,000, 200,000, kalahating milyon na reward money, di ba? Pero kung yung crime na ginawa niya, kulong ng 5 years, yung nagsumbong sa kanya may 250,000, 500,000, it prevents, di ba, major breaches, no, of our cybersecurity. Then it's worth it. And then, ang maganda sa reward money, pag hindi mo nagamit, balik naman yun eh. Di ba? So that's one use na I think is transparent and can be ano, no. So thank you very much sa kapatid natin sa media. Yeah, to our CEO.
Yeah. Mr. Chair, very quickly, before our good friends in media leave, no?
Yeah, is there anything pala that you want to assure the public? Gamitin mo na rin yung pagkakataon na.
Yes. Actually, yeah, related to that, Mr. Chair, with your permission and with the permission of Senator JV, I just wanted to emphasize, no, habang nandiyan pa yung friends natin sa media, no, and want to stress that although membership data have been compromised, no, some of them, I think it's very important for the public to know that our production servers are actually intact, no. Now, the reason why some of the membership data was compromised was because it was the individual workstations that were affected, but definitely not the production servers. Intact po yun, no? So, it houses all the sensitive membership data.
So would it be fair, sir, to tell people, alam mo, pag biglang may nag-post niyan na si ganito, ganyan sakit, ito gamot, huwag kayo basta maniwala kasi ang daling mag-imbento nun.
Exactly, sir. Yes. So again, just to highlight, it was the individual workstations that were affected, diba? And I think it's good for that to know. So at least parang mas ma-peace rin yung taong bayan. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Again, just to emphasize, so individual workstation, so if I was working on 10 people from X hospital, yun yung laman nun. Pero it's not like the server na kung sabihin mong yung records nyo for the last 2 years at lahat ng binil nila, ano yung treatment, nandun yun. So ang naapektuhan yung individual
workstations po. Yes po.
Yeah, sige.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, before we go into executive session, tanong ko lang, is it true that the Philippines ranks number 4 in the world, the most incidents of cyber attack?
Sir, if I may clarify that statement came from one of the vendors, which is Kaspersky. In fact, they updated it from fourth, naging second, naging first. No, but I would like to state with siguro with a grain of salt that particular findings of Kaspersky kasi ang kinakount lang nila is yung attacks na namomonitor ng kanilang antivirus system. Siguro sir, ang official is that we are actually in the middle dun sa Global Cybersecurity Index. We do not rank very low, but we also do not rank very high. In the ASEAN, we are about 6th or 7th out of the 10 countries. So, yeah. That's the official.
And that are attacks not necessarily successful.
Yes, sir. In terms of attacks, sir, we are actually defending more than we are than lumulusot. I understand that it is very unfortunate that we have these attacks recently. But if I may have the 2022 data as an example, after the 25,000 threats that we monitored, no, approximately 5,000. So approximately 5,700 came through, and not all of these are are associated with data. To be honest, ang pinakamarami po talagang klase ng attack sa Pilipinas ay sa government agency and mostly web defacement. So hindi siya involving PII tulad po na nangyari sa
Just because yan ang pinakamarami, and if we can get rid of that, then it will be a big help. Ano ba penalty dyan?
Mr. Chair, there are two governing laws when it comes to cyber hacking. First would be RA number 8792, the Electronic Commerce Act of 2000, minimum fine of 100,000 and a maximum commensurate damage incurred and a mandatory imprisonment of 6 months to 3 years. Now, when it comes to RA 10175 or the Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012, imprisonment of 6 to 12 years or a fine of 200,000 up to a maximum amount commensurate to the damage.
Yeah.
So I think we have the
I think
appropriate
the
penalties.
penalty is more than enough. I mean, 6 months to 3 years, 6 years to 12 years, 100, hindi biro yun. So it's really a matter of may mahuli and then gawing sample. So let me use this forum to say, no, na I've said this even in our city, na ang matinong government official ay parating naghahanap ng sasampulan. So don't volunteer. Di ba? So kung gagawin nyo yan, magde-deface kayo, akala nyo laro-laro lang, 6 months to 3 years ang kulong, may 6 years to 12 years, and meron 100,000. And let's challenge our law enforcers. Humuli kayo kasi maniwala kayo. Nasa TV yan, nahuli nyo. Marirealize nung iba. Akala kasi nung iba, biro-biro lang talaga yan eh. No? So with the permission of Senator Ercito and our... Yes, sir.
Sorry, Mr. Chair. One last, Mr. Chair. In response to the leaked information or those who were affected, no, I just want to mention also to this valuable committee that we at PhilHealth are exploring, if it needs be, no, those that are affected, maybe what we'll do is we'll generate new PhilHealth IDs, and then we'll have to start again from scratch. It may be tedious, but at least for the protection of the people, diba? And
That's much appreciated. Alam mo, usually reactive tayo eh. So yung hindi nyo na hinintay, kayo na nagsabi na baka ayusin. That's much appreciated, sir.
thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So may I ask wala naman Sergeant at Arms ang Committee on Science and Technology. May ask our Senate ushers, can we usher out? Ayan, nandito na pala yung OSA. Thank you, sir. First time ba na kailangan ng Science and Technology ng OSA? Yeah. Sige lang. 5-minute break to clear the room. I leave the agencies to be the one to tell kung sino ang authorized sa grupo ninyo. Tapos ganun din sa Senate staff kung sinong maybe 2 or 3 per senator pwede. 2 to 300.